You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cricket Podcast, where we've got a bunch of stuff to catch you up on. IPL Qualifier 2, Punjab Kings, they overcame Mumbai Indians thanks to an all-timer of an innings from Shreyas Iyer. We've got a preview of the final. Punjab, they go through, they'll be taking on RCB and Virat Kohli, and the Harry Brook ODI era for England has got off to a flyer as they win again. This time thanks to an epic innings from Joe Root. I'm Jack Hope. I'm joined by Max Roy Brown. How you doing, Max?
Hello. I'm good. I'm full of cold today, so apologies if I randomly start coughing. But otherwise, I'm raring to go. And 2 games, 2 all-time innings, I think, would be how I would describe it.
Yeah. I thought you were on holiday. Did you get a cold
I was
on holiday?
I believe I got ill before going on holiday, so I was ill on holiday and now as well. But it's fine. I powered through. It was all right. Beer is the best medicine, I find.
Well, it's the alcohol in it, isn't it? It kills germs. Alcohol,
Yeah,
famously.
yeah. Or it's either alcohol or injecting bleach. One of those two, according to old Don.
I think both. Do both. A reminder, you can head to the show notes and find links to our sponsor, BetterHelp. You can also sign up to Patreon, patreon.com/thecricketpod. And there are a few other links in there that might interest you. Max, let's do the IPL first. And we'll do England at the end. And it will be a short show today. I mean, we were going to do one yesterday evening, but because of the 2-hour delay in the IPL game, we didn't fancy it at 20 to 10. Max, IPL though, Mumbai. Everyone was all over Mumbai, but that's not what happened. What did happen?
Well, everyone was all over Mumbai. Shreyas Iyer was all over Mumbai. But before it got to that point, Mumbai did a reasonable job of being all over Punjab as they racked up 203. And what I would say a pretty decent effort considering, as you mentioned, a 2-hour delay for rain. For a moment, we were wondering whether we would even get any cricket. What was the last time we could even start if we had a super over to decide the whole thing? All the permutations were coming out, but as it happened, they just about managed to get underway about 15 minutes before we started losing overs, and a full 20-over game was able to take place, which is quite impressive given the amount of rain that was falling. And Punjab, having won the toss, very sensibly decided that they would take the field first, because it's always better to know what you need to chase when DLS gets involved and does funny stuff. But never actually came to that, because we got the full game and Mumbai put on 200, as I said, with contributions from everyone really in that middle order. Johnny Bairstow, who's in to replace Ryan Rickleton with all the switcheroos that happened, having another good effort. Both Tilak Varma and Suryakumar have put 44 up, and Mumbai kept going. They lost wickets, but it didn't stop them. They kept pushing on, and 200 they scored. And it would have been a pretty tricky chase for Punjab, especially when you consider that Mumbai have Jasprit Bumrah. And normally that means it's quite difficult scoring runs, but not if your name is 28 crore man Shreyas Iyer, because he managed to work out how to score runs off perfect Yorkers. And I honestly don't have a clue how he did it, how it happened, but it did. And it was an astounding innings of 87 off 41. He was helped as well by his colleagues, Josh Inglis putting in a decent effort, and Nel Wadera as well, as Punjab lost a couple of wickets and looked like that maybe Mumbai might be back in the game. But no, Shreyas, the captain, saw them home, and it was a very un-Punjab-like performance, chasing down that 200. It was under a lot of pressure. It was a lot of the kind of situation you might see the kings of comedy crumble, but they were stoic and resolute, and they saw it home in very impressive fashion to move themselves into a final where we will see a new champion. So nice, good. It's good for cricket. It's good for the IPL.
Yeah, I think so. It's the people's final, isn't it?
Oh.
Mumbai Indians. That's that's a final for an owner who won't sit in a box, wants to sit on a throne right by the side of the pitch.
Made of his enemy's
not the
bones.
people. Yeah, not the people, in other words. Like the person who sits on the Iron Throne, in this case, being represented by a sofa, is not your friend. Whoever owns Punjab Kings, probably also not your friend, but definitely, I think we can all agree, more your friend than the Ambanis. So, a victory, I think, for cricket there. Look, there were 3 moments in this match, I think, that decided the outcome. One, in sequential order, one, I think Mumbai Indians didn't score enough runs. They had more than a couple of guys get into decent positions. So Bairstow 38 of 24, Tilatvar 44 of 29, Surya Kumar Yadav 44 of 26. And then maybe not so much Namandir because it was a bit later in the innings, but he actually batted really well. So we won't include Namandir in that list. But there's 3 guys there who were scoring quickly, were looking good, and none of them put the pressure on, really put the pressure on Punjab. They all got out before they made a significant, dent in the likelihood of Mumbai Indians winning the game. And 203, I think that's probably at least 10 runs under where Mumbai Indians should have finished. Particularly if you consider, I think probably most people before this game thought that the way Punjab would win is like Arshdeep Singh taking some wickets early on and like last minute replacement Bairstow failing and Rohit, doing something bad, and that's the way to win. But that isn't actually what happened. Like Arshdeep bowled terribly. Kyle Jamieson turned out to be the bowler who exercised the most control over the innings. That combination of events, I feel like Mumbai would be really disappointed not to have exploited it. Next thing, and so again, I didn't really expect this to happen. Next thing, you talked about Shreyas Iyer. He did play Bumrah really well, and that shot that he guides through third man is unbelievable. I think the other turning point though is Josh Inglis v Bumrah. Bumrah comes in to bowl his power play over. I think it's the 5th over of the innings. You're thinking, if from Punjab's point of view, you're thinking 6 runs here and no wickets is a win. Josh Inglis hits 20, hits Bumrah for 2 sixes, a 6 back over his head, a 6 over third man. He managed to hit the ball over the top of Reece Topley, which is, trust me, that's much easier said than done. That really, it swung momentum. Bumrah, from that point, can't book figures that are going to crush you. Like you've already done enough damage to the best bowler that you should have a chance against the sort of rest of them. And then obviously Shreyas Iyer, who you talked about, is the way he sort of built his innings and, slowly at first and then more and more quickly took it away from Mumbai. So it's the star of the show will definitely be Shreyas Iyer, but it's not the full story.
No,
we will keep our focus on him though, Max, because there was a lot of people who criticised them picking him up. A lot of people who criticised or said that his captaincy has been overrated. Here though, absolute vindication for Shreyas, isn't it? Like in the annals of IPL great innings, where does this one stand?
He's got to be pretty high, isn't it? Just not because of the quality, just the quality, but the situation as well. There've been plenty of hundreds that we've seen have been memorable in the IPL, but this is one where he has, as a leader of a side, where, like you say, he's been brought in for the most money ever to lead a side, and almost purely on the fact that he captained a side to the IPL the previous year, parachuted straight into Punjab to lead them, a side that had never done that before. Now in the final, on the back of a momentous knock that involved brilliant cricket, but single shots that will stick out in the mind. It's got a bit of everything about it, and it will be. I think it will be remembered as a stupendous innings, and it's quite a nice, I don't know, bottling up of his IPL all year, really, because he's had a bit of everything, hasn't he? It's 8 sixes he managed in that 87, and that is one of the, I think, standout changes to Shreyas Iyer's game that we've seen this year. His ability to play those power shots where before you sort of see him as more of a touch player. He has the touch, as he showed with that unbelievable opening of the face from that Yorker, but also the ability to just blast it into space, as far as I can tell. So it was a really nice, encompassing innings of everything that Shreyas Iyer has done well this year, and it will be rightly remembered. I think what you were saying about that Boomer over as well is I mean, it is a big tournament. Big turning point. Like, you don't do that to Jasprit Bumrah, and sort of looking at the chase at the halfway stage, like 200 is a decent number of runs. I think you're right to say that Mumbai can probably be a bit disappointed not to have kicked on from where they were, even with 2 overs left when Hardik Pandya fell. They were on 180. You're looking, maybe you can get another 10 runs from there. But when you're against a team like Mumbai Indians, it's almost like you do have that extra 10 runs or even 20 runs, because you're thinking, well, Jasprit Bumrah is probably going to take 1 for 24 or something. Like, that is the bread and butter of Jasprit Bumrah. So it almost is as if you're chasing 210 or 220, because they have that man in their bowling attack. And Josh Inglis just completely changed the equation in that 1 over and got it back to what the scorebook tells you. So I think fair to highlight that as well. But yeah, I just was really impressed all round with the Punjab innings, apart from Shashank Singh's running, of course, which was there was still a moment there, wasn't there, to laugh at from the Kings of Comedy.
Yeah, that was one of the most bizarre run-outs you'll ever see. He hit the ball to an infielder and then sort of walked the first half of the single, and then was like, "Oh shit! This could be close." It's a good piece of fielding from Hardik, actually, to pull that off. But yeah, well done, Shreyas. Doubled the frequency he hit sixes at, more than doubled. His best ever season in terms of his six hitting frequency. So a huge step on, and a massive statement innings. He'll finish the IPL with more than 600 runs. He's never done that before. He'll finish the IPL with an average in the 50s probably. He's never done that before. His strike rate this season is a full 30 higher than he's ever managed before. It's just an amazing step forward, and it's been fantastic to see. Max, it means that Punjab will go forward. They will play in the IPL final. They'll be taking on RCB. Neither team has ever won the IPL. The narrative around these two is that they are, at best, lovable losers. Sometimes
bottlers.
Sometimes bottlers. Sometimes losers you hold in contempt. Sometimes people you just laugh at. The comedy kings. For one of them, that narrative ends on Tuesday, which sounds weird when you say it like that, doesn't it? Which of the two can you see lifting the trophy?
It's going to be interesting. RCB, having won every single game that they've played not at the Chinnaswamy this year, is a good starting point for them. I do lean towards RCB. Obviously, the first qualifier between these two was a bit of a dud, and RCB ran away with it. So I don't know if you can draw a lot from that, because that is one of those games that just happens, right? It didn't necessarily show us weaknesses or strengths that one team over the other might be able to exploit. I think Punjab just had a bit of a bad day, and RCB were quite good, and it was one of those things that happens in cricket. So fair enough. But I think for me, RCB having Josh Hazlewood in the IPL playoffs just makes that much more of a difference. When you look at every other side in this playoffs, they have lost something. It's Marco Jansen for Punjab, for example. You had with Mumbai, they lost quite a few players and changed things around. You got Reece Topley coming in and Richard Gleeson coming in, and Johnny Bairstow coming in, who actually, in fairness, has done very well in his short stint. But those other sides, and Gujarat Titans, obviously Josh Butler, those other sides, they've lost something big and something key to what's got them to this point. And if there's one guy out of everyone, particularly the overseas players for RCB, that has got them to this point, probably Josh Hazlewood, and maybe even secondary to that, Phil Salt opening the batting and setting the tone. And they've retained both of those players, and that's a big thing for RCB, and I think that's probably enough for them to take the crown. But you never know.
Yeah, I think I mainly agree with that. I'd make RCB fairly firm favourites. Probably not as big a favourites as Mumbai were over Punjab, though, and Punjab just beat Mumbai, so it's certainly not a. There's nothing like a foregone conclusion. I just think, sort of as you say, that RCB probably had a better team going into the year. They've not been affected by withdrawals at all, I don't think, really. Maybe you argue Jacob Bethel on that front. Maybe you can push that argument, but I don't think it's massively substantial, to be honest. And I think that Punjab probably have, like maybe Shreyas Iyer gets another 90. That is possible. He's done it a few times this year, right? But I would rather be on the side of the team that have still got their premier bowler in Hazlewood, that probably will have Tim David by all accounts. Apparently he's coming back into the team, that have Phil Salt firing, that have got Virat hungry. I think they were a more complete team before the pause in the IPL, and I think they're definitely a more complete team after. I mean, Marco Jansen, for example, he's gone, and that leaves a hole. And
yeah, I mean, you go man for man in the bowling, and you think beforehand RCB at the start of the season, like one question mark maybe was like, is Yash Dayal up to it, and is their spin contingent good enough? And then you go man for man now, and you're like, well, like Carl Jamieson actually did reasonably well in the two games he's played so far, but he's not really been around much. And Harpreet Brar against Krunal Pandya is not much of a difference, and suddenly it all starts to even out, doesn't it, when you start taking those comparisons. So even that chink that maybe we talked about in that RCB armour is not something that Punjab necessarily are able to overcome in a paper comparison, so to speak. But like you say, it's T20 cricket, so
anything can happen.
When we get it wrong, it is still about 50-50.
Anything can happen. That's the IPL, Max. We've got a few minutes left to talk about England. They took on the West Indies. It was an interesting game where England bowled well, batted pretty well, and fielded abysmally, which really brought West Indies into it. Do you want to talk us through the key moments?
Yeah, well, like you said, England probably architects of their own downfall to a degree to start with. Ben Duckett in particular shelling a few catches and helping West Indies on their way to 308, which looked for a moment like it was going to be 350, and then for a moment looked like it was going to be about 250, and then ended up being about 300 in the end, with Casey Carty being the standout, 103 for him off 105. A good effort from the West Indies. And they removed both of England's openers for a duck to leave England somewhat behind the game. A little bit of a rebuild between Root and Brooke before, again, another couple of wickets fell. And at this point, WinViz had England at about 10%, which, I'll be honest, I thought was a little bit unfair on England, but still tells you roughly where that game was heading. And Joe Root, having taken himself to a record number of 50s and becoming England's all-time run scorer in ODI cricket, passing 7,000 ODI runs, was unstoppable in an innings of 166 of 139 balls. It was pretty much a one-man show, a superhuman effort. He absolutely took control of this game, and it was basically one of those games where Joe Root walks in, goes, I'm going to win this from here, and there's nothing you can do about it. And that is what happened. Although, probably worth mentioning what happened when Joe Root was fairly early on in his innings, and Matthew Ford was convinced that it had him pinned LBW, umpire unmoved, and the DRS review showed the ball hitting the bail, but only enough for an umpire's call, and it was a tight one, and that did make a big difference to how this game went. Will Jacks was on the receiving end of a similar one in a different direction later on, but by that point it was all pretty much done and dusted. So an incredible effort from Joe Root, pretty impressive win from England to come back from the position they were in. But if I were the West Indies, I'd be pretty unhappy about the umpire not raising his finger for that Joe Root incident, because I was giving it. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, it looked pretty out to me, to be honest. I think they were definitely unfortunate there. That isn't saying anything away from what Joe Root did and after that point. And that's cricket. Sometimes you need a little bit of luck. Often, mostly to get 166, you need a little bit of luck. And so Joe Root got his slice there. If I was West Indies, I'd be a little bit disappointed that, given England's fielding, which was pretty atrocious, they weren't able to take advantage and cash in. I mean, Ben Duckett has a candidate, or has a shout here for worst cricket match anyone's ever played. He drops 2 catches at second slip. I don't think either was super hard. Neither were like 100%ers, but one was like a slow diving catch that he made look much harder than it was. The other one just hit his head. Missed a run out where he had the ball in his hand and he was 5 yards away from the stumps.
Forgot about the run out.
Were both running in the other direction, 10 yards away from the stumps, and then was out. Third ball for a duck. So it's off the top of my head, I can't remember anyone having such a disastrous day. It was bad for someone's just said my microphone's very low, so I've just adjusted that to try and get it a bit higher. It was bad. It was really bad from Duckett. It was good. It was a good ODI though. There's a couple of, if you're an England fan anyway, a couple of good ODIs to start the year. Maybe this is the ODI comeback that we need, and maybe it's the ODI comeback we don't need. Maybe this is the return of the format. I'm not sure, because we had a couple of retirements, didn't we, from the format today and yesterday? Heinrich Klaasen retiring from international cricket in general, which is a bit of a surprise given the T20 World Cup's coming up next year, and Glenn Maxwell also calling it a day from ODI cricket. So,
all change. I think South Africa, from my point of view, need to have a long, hard look at themselves with the situation they've ended up in, with Heinrich Klaasen not playing the T20 World Cup for them. There's been a lot of back and forth, hasn't there, around the contract situations. He didn't get a central contract, part of that because of his commitment to T20 franchise cricket and wanting to play as much of that, and Cricket South Africa being very much of the mould of, you need to be available for our games. But when it comes to a guy who's literally the best in the world at what he does, you find a way to get him into your side, especially when you think about the last World Cup where they got to the final and were as close to winning it as anything until Heinrich Klaasen was caught on the boundary. One more go, I think. Give it one more go and get your best side out and do whatever you bloody well can to get Heinrich Klaasen into that team. So that is a massive shame, and Maxwell as well is a big shame. Probably less of a surprise because he's a bit more up and down in his contributions, but it's 2 very sad losses for white ball cricket. But England, good start for them. A couple of changes as well, some new look stuff. Will Jacks down at 7, Jamie Smith opening. Got to do something, haven't you, when you come in? You've got to shake the apple cart up a little bit when you're taking control of a new business. So that's the personnel reshuffle that Harry Brooks gone with to stamp his mark, and interesting to see how it all pans out.
Yeah, last question came in as a super chat from Andy. Thanks very much, Andy. How have the 3 additions changed your outlook on Chennai Super Kings, and how much of an issue is it that the Ambanis own Mumbai Indians and are the IPL's broadcasters for bringing the primary revenue? I think I'll do the second one. I think in terms of competition fairness, that is potentially a problem. It's pretty. It's not a stretch to see how the the main money maker, as it were, for everyone else might get afforded a little bit of preferable treatment. And
Mm.
even yesterday, actually, the rules and regulations sort of stipulated that there should be overs lost, or there should have been overs lost by the time the game started. But that mysteriously didn't happen, and probably was overall to the benefit of Mumbai that it didn't happen.
Having already lost the
Uh,
toss.
yeah, yeah. So I think look, it definitely could be exploited. I would say that in a normal sports league where entertainment wasn't the primary driver and the sports competition was, you would have checks and balances in place so that if that scenario did exist, and there are sports actually where you'll have owners with a stake in the broadcaster. This happens quite a lot in American sports, where the owner of a franchise will also hold significant broadcasting rights. Um, that's not necessarily a problem in and of itself. It's the fact that that happens and there's no way to ensure fairness that makes that a problem. And then for Chennai, Max, you can answer that one. You've got a minute or so to come up with an answer.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's definitely a better end to the season for CSK than the start was, wasn't it? And I think there's some exciting times. I think I assume what we're talking here is Ayush Matre, Oval Patel, and the Volt Brevis in terms of the additions we're talking about, and it has given them something that they completely lacked for the first half of the IPL, which was someone scoring some runs quite quickly to start the innings. So I am much more upbeat about them moving forward than what the position I'd have been in halfway through the IPL. But I suppose to temper that slightly, it has all happened in a period where all the games were meaningless. They were playing against teams that largely didn't have anything to play for and might have also lost a few personnel. So, there is some guarding to some caveating to do there in terms of what it really says, but it does pretty much solve, well, not pretty much solve, but look like a big step towards solving what the batting issue was. In particular, if you think about Gaikwad coming back and what that does to the stability. So, I mean, there's more to do, particularly with the bowling and the question about MS Dhoni, which will hover over them for years to come by the looks of things. But certainly a step in the right direction and some exciting young blood. Once again, plenty more where that came from by the looks of things.
Cool. Max, we're going to wrap up there. Thanks very much, everyone, for listening to the Cricket Podcast. We will be back after the final, which is taking place tomorrow. So see you then. Goodbye.